Hello, I'm back. Penny here with the grand finale to my quest for Submariner 41. So in this video, I'm just going to share a couple of quick reflections on my collection and what's happening with it. As you already know, I have received from the AD a Submariner 41. I am absolutely loving it, but there is other news to share about the collection, and I think this is all kind of wrapped together. So I want to kind of get into the details of selling a watch, why I sold a watch, even though I still have the keeper's mentality, and what this all means for the collection, acquiring the sub and shaking the collection up a little. So I'm going to walk through my process in this finale kind of episode of Quest for Submariner 41. So yeah, that was fast. Wow. I didn't expect when I decided to do this series, I thought it would take me all of 2021 to get a sub from an AD. But I should have known better because at the end of December, I did have a chance to buy the no date sub right before the holiday, and I didn't do it. But a few weeks later in January, I went to the AD, told him, hey, I'm pretty close on my savings. I have the money. I can transfer it, have it ready for you. Just so you know, I want to be on the list for Submariner after we had that conversation, basically, where he said he can't get me a Kermit. And so that was my goal. So I went ahead and told him I wanted the no date sub, and he was like, I'll get it for you by next week. It'll be here next week. So that just boom, boom, boom happened so quickly. I got it. It was not impossible. It is not impossible, folks. I've been saying this all along. If you have the personality to make the connections with an AD on an interpersonal level, yes, you do have to buy stuff, but I don't think you have to buy a lot of other random stuff that you don't want in order to get the pieces. You just have to be authentic, you have to be upfront, and you have to be consistent. So that has at least been my experience, okay? Do I regret not waiting for the Kermit? The Kermit is a beautiful watch. I don't regret it because I don't think that was going to happen anytime soon. Maybe if I had told him, hey, I don't want a no date sub, just put me on your list for a Kermit sometime in 2021. Maybe that would have happened. I just wasn't getting a good vibe from him that it's happening soon. And I feel like with COVID, with the Rolex shortages anyway, that I don't have to have a Kermit right out the gate. And that maybe a year from now, or even 2 years from now, there has to be a little bit better flow of these watches. Hopefully the pandemic will be better under control, and hopefully these watches will have shipped more. I'm just thinking down the line is more possible. So I don't regret not waiting because I just don't know when that's going to happen. As I laid out in my quest for the Submariner first video, I have a good plan for my collection. I am a planner. I like to envision things. I like to stick to the game plan. And so, what does acquiring a Submariner now mean for the rest of 2021? Us watch fanatics or junkies and always wanting to buy a watch if we can. So does that mean for the whole rest of the year now? I mean, it's only January still. Does that mean that I'm not buying any more watches whatsoever in the whole rest of the year? I don't know. I don't think so. No, that's not going to be the case. I'm definitely going to buy more watches. So let's get into that. What is on the horizon? I don't want this collection of like 30 watches. I do at the same time want to just hit my goal and get the pieces that I want and coast. We'll see if this is all possible. So, do I still want a Kermit? Yes, of course. I still want a Kermit. As I said, that is a goal down the road. What we're going to do, because we're a household with two tastes and two collections, what we're going to do is, I told the AD, hey, the next watch I buy from you will actually be a Datejust for Empress. So it probably won't be that stainless steel blue Datejust 41 because it's in high demand. What I think we're going to do is just when he gets a shipment of Datejusts in and has some good options that are not two-tone and not, diamond dial, but something reasonable still in stainless steel. The dial color doesn't matter that much. But she's either going to go for a 36 or 41 Datejust. And I feel like that's a nice little, piece of goodwill as well. It won't happen right away because she's waiting for a silver Snoopy. But I think in 2021, we will still be able to hopefully buy her a Datejust from this particular AD. And then I'm going to say to him, hey, we want to be on the list now for a green sub as our next watch. That actually will be 5 watches if we get a Datejust, because we've gotten several now from this particular AD. So the Kermit by that point would be the 5th watch, and I feel like that is more than reasonable. Again, I'm not going to ever be a big time spender, $100,000, $150,000 spender, but over the years, the last couple of years, buying 5 watches, consistently showing that I will purchase. We'll see if that strategy works. Plus, it's also just a nice thing. It'll be nice to have a Datejust, between the two of us. And it shouldn't be too hard to source, and it should be good for the AD. That's kind of a low stakes purchase. So that's my plan for the Kermit. I'm still thinking it won't happen to 2022 maybe, but in the meantime, we will buy a watch even if it's not from my collection. So now let me get on to what sold. This is now gone, folks. I have sold the watch. I have recouped the money from it. It is now no longer owned by me. So this is the Speedmaster Trilogy 1957 anniversary, 60th anniversary watch. Beautiful watch. Even as I'm looking at the video here, I actually recorded this right before I sold it. I knew I was going to sell it, and I said, let me make a review of it so that other people looking for this watch will have more reviews to watch. I haven't posted it because I feel like my heart wasn't in it. And even in I have the audio off, but even in the audio of this review, I feel like I sound a little dispirited, so I'm not sure I'll post it. Maybe I will. But basically, why did I sell the Speedmaster Trilogy? I'm a Speedmaster fanatic. The Speedmaster is still my favorite watch, the Moon Watch. And I thought, all along that I would love to have its predecessor, this CK 2915 model in the trilogy. And, the thing is it is a great looking watch. It's a beautiful watch, but it doesn't hit on for me the dichromatic color scheme of the Moon Watch, the black and white, the same color scheme of the sub, is kind of what I like in that genre of like tool watch. And something about the bracelet on the trilogy was never my thing. I don't like the polished outer links. I know a lot of people love that bracelet, but it just, to me, the watch looks better on a NATO strap. But it's not as versatile in terms of straps as the Moon Watch, because the dial is like a grayish color, and then you got the fake patina, and then you have the silver hands. Make no mistake, it's an absolutely beautiful dial, but it's not as versatile of a dial. And then with the case size at 38.4, it's definitely not small. I think it's 38.6. It's definitely not small, but it's smaller than what I'm used to with the Moon Watch. So what I found when I was wearing this watch is I just kind of longed for my Moon Watch instead. I love the broad arrow hands. I love individual components of that watch, but I didn't love the experience of actually having it on the wrist. I did not know this because I just purchased this watch for a Black Friday sale, so this was late November. I really haven't had that much time with it. I hadn't worn it that much because, I don't know, I was wearing other stuff, and, it was on my list to really give it some quality time. But I finally got around to wearing it for a long period of time, and I just didn't love it, I just kept thinking, man, I really want to wear the Moon Watch. And I didn't like being that conflicted. I was conflicted about the IWC. Should I sell it? Should it stay? But the IWC kind of hooked me and captured me with its sunburst dial. It's really good looks. Something about the IWC sunk in deep, and something about the Speedy Trilogy just never did. So I don't really consider this a flip because it's not like I bought it to flip it. I haven't had it very long, so it's not just like this is a part of my core collection that I'm severing. I really just test drove this watch, in my opinion, and it's not a watch I could have seen in the store. So that's me there saying basically like there's some really good there's really good things about the Moon watch, and the Moon watch is the Speedmaster for me. And I think in the future, any Speedy that deviates too much from the Moon watch design is not going to be for me. That obviously was the predecessor, but it just didn't hook me. It really, really didn't. So even though the IWC, I thought that was on the chopping block, that is here to stay. The IWC is like a lifetime keeper. And this just never really sunk in for me the same way. So it raises the question of, does it have to be love at first sight? You know, what are the criteria for like bringing in a watch and for the watch really hooking you if you can only see it in pictures, and then you have to kind of buy it to really experience it, because that's a watch I couldn't go see in a store anywhere. You know, it's already been, it was released in 2017. It's already been sold out. So it's the only way for me to experience it was to have it in. I think what I discovered by wearing the Speedmaster Trilogy and trying to love it is that when I look down at my wrist, I have to have butterflies. It has to sing to me. My stomach has to get a little, you know, a little fluttery. I have to feel good every time I glance down at the watch. I can't be like, ooh, what are you? You know, and have to like tilt it to get a better angle. And something about that watch on the wrist just didn't hit me, you know, in the heartstrings the same way that my other watches do. And now I feel like there's a lot of competition for my wrist. You know, the watches have to compete with each other to get on this wrist. If I'm going to wear a watch for a week, for a month, whatever, you got to be good. You got to go the distance. You got to really satisfy me. And oh my goodness, the Trilogy is a beautiful watch. It just didn't do that. So that's why I sold it. And just to be candid, I lost $300 on the watch. That's not bad, I guess, for buying a watch and selling it so quickly, you know, especially a watch that's not a Rolex. So I did get it pre-owned. I got it for an incredible deal, but I still lost $300 on the transaction. So, you know, lesson learned. It could have been worse in terms of losses. I do think that watch is going to probably go up in value because Speedmasters are getting a lot of attention these days. And it's still an excellent watch. If you like a vintage aesthetic that is using that particular kind of design language, I think the Railmaster 57, that's another one that I really like of the 57s. I think that would have been a better choice for me because it doesn't have to compare to my favorite watch of all time. You know, the Moon watch is my favorite watch of all time, and I don't think there's a lot of room in the collection for watches that are speedies that don't really look like, you know, the Moon watch. So they can't deviate from it too much. So this experience made me think, you know, do I actually want more Speedmasters in my collection? I said that I would love to have 5 Speedmasters and 5 sports Rolexes and call it a day. I don't know, guys. You know, I think what this experience has taught me is I'm plenty satisfied with my Hesalite Moon watch as my only speedy, but I think Empress is at some point hopefully going to get a Snoopy, which I'm already kind of like turning on. It's like, what is this, a blue and white imposter, not a real Moon watch? Like, I know Snoopy goes around the moon, that's pretty freaking cool, but I don't know if I'm going to feel the same about that watch that I do about the Moon watch. It might feel like an imposter, but it's going to be a good thing because it's not my watch. And then the only one that still might be a contender is the Ultraman. I love orange. Orange is one of my favorite colors. And it looks enough like a Moon watch. It just has a little bit of orange, you know, orange popping in there. A little bit of orange color. So I think my plans for more Speedies has actually halted. You know, we have 2 Speedmasters between us. She's got a Hesalite sandwich. I have the regular Hesalite. And if we get 2 others, you know, that'll be it. I don't want a massive like sub speedy collection like I had been entertaining. So I really did learn some good lessons from owning the Speedmaster Trilogy. Okay, I learned that I need butterflies, and I learned that speedy is bae. I keep learning that. Speedy is bae. Don't fool around. Don't cheat on bae. So welcome to Crazy Town. Now let's get into what's going to happen with those funds. You know, I sold the Speedmaster Trilogy, got a big chunk of money back. You know, what am I going to do with it? The watch collector junkie in me, the crazy town resident, is like, Penny, what's up? What you going to do with this money? You should save it for the Kermit for next year, or are you going to try to use that money for something else that you want? Well, welcome to Crazy Town, folks. We're back. So I had an epiphany. That's what the fireworks are. I had an epiphany when I made that Quest of the Submariner, my strategy video, my grand strategy video, that I want the Milgauss back. I mean, I kind of knew I wanted the Milgauss back because I'm always talking about it. Empress knows I want a Milgauss, and I told her like a few months ago, I was like, you know, I'm probably going to buy a Milgauss someday again, even though I sold it. It's the only Rolex that I've ever sold, and I regret it, deeply regret it. And she's like, I know you're going to, that's a given. I know you're going to get a Milgauss again. So making that video helped me see all my anxiety about the Milgauss being discontinued. So to be clear, selling the Speedmaster trilogy had nothing to do with getting the Sub 41, but selling the Speedmaster trilogy did free up money to think about pursuing a Milgauss sometime soon. And I have all this anxiety about the Milgauss being discontinued. So let's think about this as the proposition. The Speedmaster 57 is gone, and the black GV Milgauss could be coming in. Now, I wish the Rolex market wasn't so crazy. I wish I could just sit on this and say, yeah, I'd like to get a Milgauss again in the future. But we all know that if the Milgauss is discontinued this year, people were predicting that it was going to be discontinued in 2020, or at least updated or something, because it's not as anti-magnetic as other watches. Like Omega's whole lineup is like more anti-magnetic than this. And that green glass is a pain to manufacture. And it's just a weird looking watch. The one that I like is this one. I like the black dial because I like the contrast between the green dial and the green glass and the black dial. On the Z Blue, if you've seen a Z Blue in person, like I have, you know, it's basically a teal watch because you've got the green GV, you know, crystal, sapphire crystal on top of this sunburst blue dial, and they really mingle together. Well, those are my favorite colors, you know, orange and green are my favorite colors. And on the black, you can see the orange better and you can see the green better, and you don't have the blue kind of mingling with the green glass. So that's basically why I like the black. I've owned it before. I liked the watch a lot, just sold it because I wanted to get a BL&R. So now I am going to learn the very hard lessons of not selling a Rolex because, of course, the Milgauss is already like almost $3,000 more than when I sold it, you know, 2 years ago. So that drives me absolutely insane. It's just what it is. I'm gonna have to deal with that. At the same time, I can see that if the Milgauss gets discontinued, it's not going to suddenly become a popular watch, but at least for a short while, maybe a year, maybe half a year, prices are going to soar the way they do on all discontinued Rolex watches. So that's going to be annoying. The price could be $10,000, the prices could be $12,000, who knows what's going to happen. I just think that now is the time. I'd rather just sit on the money and wait it out, but I think now is the time to get another Milgauss if I'm going to do it, just because as we get closer to April, when Rolex is probably going to make their announcements, I think they are making their announcements for their new watches, you know, things are going to get crazy. So my plan is to reacquire this watch. I have told two ADs, the one that I deal with the most and my other AD, that I would like a Milgauss. I hope this crazy thing of them both calling me for the same watch does not happen. I guess that would be first world problems, but it would be kind of a nightmare. And I would have to take both watches and try to like sell one to a friend on the down low or something. That's just terrible. But the reason I put the call out to both was because I've heard that they're not really getting it very often. You know, especially the black. Like if they get a Milgauss, they don't know, and they haven't really been getting them as often. I also know that it's not as in demand, of course, as the Kermit, so maybe I have a good chance. I've given them until mid-March as the time when, look, if you get it by mid-March, I have an early spring birthday, so that'll be kind of nice. then call me. But if you don't, I've sort of let them know I'm going to go pre-owned on it because, again, I don't want to deal with the potential of these rising prices. So am I still a resident of Crazy Town, folks? What do you think about my strategy and my reasons to get another Milgauss? First off, I love the watch. I've never gotten over selling it, and I've just put off the decision of getting it, but now seems like the time. What do you guys think is going to happen with the Milgauss? I know we don't really know, but what are your predictions? What's going to happen? Are they going to update this watch soon? Are they going to discontinue it? Do you like the black dial with the GV glass? Do you like the Z blue? Let me know in the comments. If you've made it this far, congratulations. If you've made it this far in my grand strategy video, then congratulations. Let me know what you think about the Milgauss in the comments. I wish this wasn't all so crazy. Why so serious? Why move quickly? Again, it's just because the Rolex market makes no damn sense. And I'm going to be done. So I am going to be done this year once I get the Milgauss. That's the answer to am I buying another watch this year? Probably the Milgauss with some of that Speedy money, Speedy Trilogy money, and a little bit kicked in because, damn it, it's expensive now. And I wish I didn't have to do that. I really wish I could wait till next year to do this, but I just don't think it'll be good. I've been seeing the Milgauss prices tick, 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 tick up almost every freaking month. So I really wish that wasn't the landscape, but it is. So if you remember, my previous ideal collection of 10 pieces was something like this. The 5 sports Rolexes on the top row, a few mixed brands. You still have the Speedy Trilogy in there on the second row, and maybe an Ultraman. I have updated this vision, learning what I've learned now about the Speedmaster Trilogy, so that's not my ideal watch collection anymore. Strategy revised. This is my ideal watch collection. Now, goals, big goals, because, have the sub no date, have a Milgauss, eventually get a Kermit. This joke's here with the Daytona, will that happen before I retire? And a CHNR. But that's my long range plan. Once I get the Milgauss, those other 3 pieces, the Daytona, the Root Beer, and the Kermit, that can take its time. That process will be whatever it is. I will enjoy that 7-piece collection. And so that 7-piece collection potentially will be this by maybe March. It's still very early in the year, but this can be my 7-piece collection. So this is my current collection right now, my core collection: BLNR, the Polar Explorer, the Sub No Date, the Speedy, the beautiful IWC, and my Tudor Black Bay 58. That's the current collection. And then, boom, getting the Milgauss back. And I can realize that that's a pretty boring collection to some, but like I said, when I put a watch on the wrist, I have to love it. I have to look down and smile at it and try to get another glance, tilted in the light. And each of these watches, when I'm experiencing it, does that to me. When I'm wearing a watch from this set, it doesn't make me think about what's next. What can I wear next, So, of course, what to buy next and how to strategize is always on my mind, but I'm very satisfied when I'm actually wearing any of these pieces. So I hope to acquire a Milgauss, but for now, this is the end of the story for the Quest of the Submariner. Quest for the 41 millimeter Submariner. We're done. And maybe by mid-March, hopefully before April, I think this can be the collection. So thank you for making it this far. If you've made it this far, I really appreciate it. Let me know what you think in the comments. What are your plans for your watch collection? Do you map things out? Do you just go with the flow? Do you like to swap watches? Let me know more. Thanks again. Peace.